Hello everyone, in this video, I will mainly show how we can use Beckhoff TwinCAT 3 software to implement OPC UA Server functions. And in this video, I will use two laptops. One laptop will run OPC UA client, and one laptop I will use a virtual machine install the TwinCAT 3 3.1. That version is 14.24.7. That is the latest version. And other than this engineering system, we also need to install another software that is a TF6100 OPC UA software. To install this software, we need to go to Beckhoff Information System website and find out automation, find out this download TwinCAT 3, this page. And firstly, you need to download TE engineering system. Click in and install this XAE Automation Engineering System, that latest version, that is 3.1 14.24.7. Other than this main engineering software, we also need to download another software that is a TF6000 connectivity software. Because without this software, you cannot set up that OPC UA server configuration. And you need to download this TF6100 TwinCAT 3 OPC UA. That is that version. Okay, after you install the TwinCAT 3, from here, let's set up the project. And in this system, that is my second laptop. And in this laptop, I use the virtual machine, install this TwinCAT 3 software. Okay, right corner. Let's set up the TwinCAT 3. Okay, click New Project. So firstly, we need to create one TwinCAT 3 project. Click this, select the location. So I will call this project TwinCAT 3 OPC UA Server. After we set up this project, let's go to PLC, set up a new PLC project. Add a new item. Click this standard PLC project. PLC OPC UA Server. Add new. So in the PLC project, we will set up a couple tasks, and we will set up a very simple logic to demonstrate the task changing, or we set up a simple logic to demonstrate. So we set up this PLC project, and firstly, let's go to the global tags, and let's create a new global variable list. And let's call that OPC UA. So that is the whole page name. Totally, we will set up 3 bool and 3 integer, just for test. So for the bool, we can call bool1. Okay. So we set up 3 bool tags and 3 integer tags, and we will use this tags published as OPC tags. Currently, those tags are global tags in this PLC area. However, currently those tags haven't got any OPC properties. So to assign the OPC UA properties to these tags, we need to type in another special keywords. We must assign those keywords line by line for each tag. Okay. And after this, let's firstly build this solution. And then let's go to the main program. And in this main program, we can use this tags, put a simple logic, OPC UA dot bool1, that is equal to bool2. Okay. Equal to bool2. And for the integer, let's put a simple integer. So the integer 3 will equal to the integer 1 plus 2. Okay, we put the very simple logic here. And let's check out some PLC important properties in this project. So firstly, let's go to the system. And the license, currently we haven't set up any OPC UA properties. So from the license area, it only shows TC1200. So currently I'm using the 7 days trial license. So that is the beauty of the TwinCAT 3 system. So without any hardware, we can download using our laptop or using your computer system as a controller to run those programs and test the OPC UA function. Another thing is even if you don't have a license, you can use this 7 days trial license for the test. And secondly, let's go to the real time. From here, to allow our computer system to run the TwinCAT 3 system, we must use your laptop's CPU, one of the core of your CPU, to run the program. I used one video before to introduce how we can use the virtual machine to run the TwinCAT 3 project. To brief demonstrate, so firstly we need to hit this target. It will read the actual courses in this Windows system, and we can see. So currently we have 4 courses from my CPU, and we need to select this, isolate it. So this TwinCAT 3 system must use one isolated core of your CPU to run the system, run the program. So once we hit this, so that means the I/O idle task, PLC task, they are all pink here. That means they will use this isolated core to run the program. So once we hit this, select this set target. And from here we can see currently this main program is executed by this PLC task. And this PLC task, its properties is here. So let's double click this PLC task. So from here, we can assign the cycle ticks. Currently this task every 10 milliseconds. So every cycle run, it calls this main, and in this main is running our program. Okay, and then let's go to our PLC side. And under this projects here, so don't forget to run OPC UA, we must check this TMC file. Keep in mind this. Okay. And also we need to check out one thing, that is this. So keep in mind, in this project, that PLC port, that is 851. This must be set in the OPC UA configuration area. Keep in mind this. Most of the time, the default port number, that is 851. But in your PLC project, if you have a multiple PLC, their port will be different. Keep in mind this. TMC file. Okay. And currently, let's hit the build. Okay. So currently, if I hit this active configuration, that will download this whole project. So, and where it download? Because currently we are selecting the local. So once I hit this active configuration, it will download this whole project into my computer system. That computer system actually, that is this. That is our TwinCAT 3 system installed in your system. And I'm using my Windows system and my CPU core to run this system. Okay. So once we hit this login, it will download the software area. And once I hit this, so currently it's running. So if we go to the main, we can see this data is running. For example, if I double click this and hit the 10, and if I hit 20 here, and once I hit this right value, so this value will write into this logic, and it will run the calculation. So we can see it's changing. So bool, we can double click. So this tool is prepared for next time when I hit this right value. Once I hit this right value, it will write into this value. Okay, so we will prepare this data here. Currently, we just finished the normal PLC side. And next step, that is our main meal in this video. Okay, let's hit this logout. And let's hit this configuration mode. And next step, let's go to the project and hit the right click, add a new project here. So this time, other than the new project, so this time we will create a TwinCAT connectivity. Keep in mind, before this, we must install that TF6000 software, connectivity software. Otherwise, you will not see this option here. This project name is this. So keep in mind this location. Usually, if your OPC configuration and your PLC project, they are the same task or same project, you better set up them in the same directory. Sometimes you are not mentioned this. Your PLC project may be in somewhere and your OPC will in another folder, another directory. It's really mess. Keep in mind this. Double check this directory. Okay. So we create a TwinCAT connectivity OPC UA project here. Let's hit the right click, add new item. And let's hit this OPC UA Server project. Okay, this is that actual project, server project. Okay, so once we set up this OPC UA Server sub-project, so it pop up DA, HA, this OPC server can supply or provide some OPC service. Most of the time we will use DA, so that means data access. Keep in mind that once I hit this add device type, that is the actual bridge or link this OPC UA server and connectivity project link to our PLC project. It's very important. And this ADS port, that is 851. If you recall from here, I just shown how we can check out that ADS port. Sometimes you do not need to select this, but personally, I will select this. So where we can check out this AMS NAT ID, I will hit this create first. Okay, so because currently I will use my local machine as the controller, we can hit this right click, hit this router, and check this change AMS NAT ID. And here, this is my local machine, AMS NAT ID. But if you have one actual controller, for example, CX2000, 5000, or 9000, so you can check out this. Right click, go to the router, go to the edit routers. So this routers allows you to find out the actual controllers. So here, AMS NAT ID, we can see this. So you can copy this number and paste it here. And because I'm using my local machine as an actual controller, so I will copy this number and paste it here. Or, so actually we can hit this small button, and once we build up the OPC configuration, it will pop up the AMS NAT ID devices here. So under this data access, this number and this ID is very important properties. Okay. Once we set up this, that actually build up a bridge. OPC UA server DA service connect to this PLC, and this PLC is actual port, that is 851. From here, that is 851. Okay. And once you set up this PLC 1, if you have multiple PLCs, so we can set up multiple device types. and use the multiple types, connect the different PLC. And once you set up this, you can click here, right click, and write the configuration to target. That means this write will write all those configuration to your target. That target, that is a OPC UA server. When you test the communication, you'd better turn off the Windows firewall or add a 4840 ports to your whitelist for your firewall. And next, let's go to the upper layer. There's a TwinCAT OPC server. And you double click this TwinCAT OPC UA server. And this page, UA endpoints, is very important parameters. If you used the OPC UA before, you must know this actually is a key setting to set up this OPC UA server parameters. And firstly, we need to check out this server port. So 4840, if a PLC running as a OPC UA, most of the PLC vendors, they will use 4840 as a default server port. So enable anonymous logon, enable username password logon, enable certificate. And from here, we can select the security issues. And from here, you can select sign or sign plus security. Okay. And for the testing wheel, we can use the non-security for the test. That depends on your project, on your flavor. Okay. So we select all of them. So till here, we already finished most of the setting, but there's another important setting somewhere. So let's go to the next. There's one hidden settings in this TwinCAT 3 project. So follow me. Let's go to the wheel and hit this toolbar. We need to check out this. There's one hidden settings here, TwinCAT OPC UA configurators. Once we activate this, so it will pop up one column here, named Add a Target OPC UA Server. Actually, that's the one key settings area we need to enable or set this OPC UA server address. So let's hit this, click this Add Target OPC UA Server. And from here, that is the actual settings to assign a name, what the name of our OPC UA server name. Usually we will set up our IP address as a part of this name. So let's check out the current IP address of this system. So currently this laptop is IP address that is 192.168.0.25. Okay. So I will set up this 192.168.0.25. And keep in mind this syntax 4840. Okay, we put this and hit this add. So this will set up the actual OPC UA address for this OPC UA server. And keep in mind this state. And currently it's running. If you accidentally hit this, once you see this used go to false, maybe your setting will not set up. So keep in mind we must enable, set this to true. Make sure this server is running. Okay, and you can hit this flash to check out this actual status and hit this OK. And once we set up this, it shows nothing here. And the next step, keep in mind this. Once you hit this area again, it will pop up this link and this setting we just set up. And if you want to go back to check out which setting you already set before, so you can hit this add target. It will pop up this setting again. It's called configured UA servers. Okay, and after we set it up, we must select this. Let your system know, okay, this is our actual OPC UA server. Okay, to better understand, I will drag this whole things here. And keep in mind, you need to drag this whole thing. Actually, it's a whole line here, especially for OPC UA. Personally, I recommend you drag at the third line, because if this guy is in this corner, you will not see this whole thing. You will forget to hit this connect some settings here. So we select this server, and next things we need to select this. That is the endpoint we need to publish. So because in this area we check out all those buttons, so that's why once we set up this OPC UA server, and once we hit this area, we will see these 4 items. This is those 4 security setting, and this allows you to select which kind of security you need to publish your OPC UA server. And for testing I will select this no security, and select this. We hit this connect, and it will pop up. Do you want to use anonymous or select this username? If you hit this username, set this username and password. Keep in mind your OPC UA client area need to set the same thing. To test and make the setting easier, I will select this anonymous. Hit this OK. That also depends on your project and depends on your flavor. So once we set up this OPC UA, we can see it will build up one security here. Because we are trying to connect, so let's hit the right click and hit this to trust list. So we will assign this server is a trust list. You will ask, so what does means this OPC UA gateway? When we install this connectivity software, if you watch this process, we will see the actual OPC UA gateway. For the TwinCAT 3, they are using this unified automation, this software as a UA gateway. It will default installed in your system. Okay, so we need to trust this link. Currently, if you see this area is gray, that means your OPC UA is running. And we also need to make sure our project is running. So let's hit this active configuration and make sure everything is running. Okay, restart in run mode. And keep in mind, this running, that is allows our PLC start to run. And this running, that is the OPC UA server running. And because of this bridge, it will publish the PLC text to the OPC UA client. Okay, so let's run our PLC. And currently the PLC is running and the OPC UA server is running. And keep in mind, we need to click this active OPC UA server config. And check out this active server configuration and active DA. This is our DA here. And active HA, that HA is here. So click OK, because some people will forget this. And keep in mind this, your OPC server must be restart, okay? It will automatically restart once we hit yes. If you accidentally hit no, we can click this cycle green here. It will restart the OPC UA server. So the OPC UA server is restarts, okay? Hit yes. And click this connect again. Alright, currently every settings here is finished. So let's go to the other laptop. In that laptop is installed the OPC UA client. This is the other laptop. It's installed this unified automation UaExpert software. That is the one free test client software. And the reason why I use the 2 laptops, that's because usually the reason why we're going to use the OPC UA, that's because we are trying to connect 2 devices, maybe 2 different PLC brands, or maybe one PC need to connect one PLC controller, or totally 2 different things. As we know, comparing with a conventional OPC, The OPC UA, one of the great advantage, it do not need to set up the DCOM setting. So it's very convenient to build up the communication between the two different brands and two different devices. So that's why I'm trying to use the two laptops to demonstrate this remote connect or connect within one network. Alright, so from this client, let's search this server. And firstly, let's test if this OPC client laptop can connect this OPC UA server. That OPC UA server software is running in that virtual machine, and that virtual machine is installed into my second laptop. So I'm testing. Okay, so this OPC client laptop can connect in that virtual machine system. Okay, let's key this add server, and we can key this local network if your two things are in a network, or you can manually search the server. So where is the actual address for that server? And if you go back to this OPC server, so if I temporarily hit this disconnect, keep in mind when we set up this OPC server, so this address, this server address, we can copy. So, or this server name address, this is the actual address for this OPC UA server. Okay, so we hit this connect again. Okay, currently our OPC server and the PLC is running, so we can see this yellow gear is running in a green box here. That means everything is running. Okay, so we go back to our OPC client, and we can manually type in this custom discovery. Double click, manually type in your OPC server IP address and your port number, and put a column in the middle. Okay, let's hit OK. Double click this link. Let the client to search. So once we double click, it will automatically pop up this OPC UA server and add this PC name. And if we compare, so this is our server and this is the client. So we can see this name, that is this client, is found. Right? So once we hit this browse, it will pop up this selection. And if you recall, those selections are those selections we set. And currently we are selecting this non-security. So we can select this. And this anonymous, so if you recall, when we hit this active configuration, so it pop up anonymous. So make sure we are selecting the same, anonymous. So we select this non-security and anonymous. And keep in mind, if you need a connection with the security, and once you hit this security line, make sure your server side, if you see the left side, that green line area, it will automatically pop up your client list. So make sure you select that client list and add in your trust list. And we can hit this connect automatically if you try to permanently to connect this OPC server. Hit the yes. Okay, so once this OPC client finds this everything and find the tags, so it will pop up with a couple folders here. And because this PLC number 1 connecting this OPC UA server to our actual PLC tags, so this PLC 1, this is the very key area. So once we expand this PLC 1 and expand this OPC UA, we will find those 3 tags are the tags from PLC project. So if we go back here, so these 6 tags are the actual tags, and it published by this OPC UA server. And if we go to the program, So I can move to the left side. So to test this OPC UA, we can drag this 6 tags to this middle area. It shows the actual status of those tags. So we can see the quality that is good. Because we restart our PLC, so it's back to 0. So the server name, they are the same. So I will shrink this column. And the ID is very important because they show a different tax name here. And if I hit the 10, if I hit 20, so we can see there's an integer 1 that is a 10 and integer 2 that is 20. So after this plus, result is 30. So if I change this bool 2 to 1, so the result will go into true. We can see this. And if I change the number, so the PLC is changing. So that means this OPC client is communicating with this OPC UA server. That's OPC UA server. That is one PLC. That is a Beckhoff PLC. This communication is successfully. And from this client wheel, so the right side, it actually shows the node ID numbers for each tag. If I hit this integer 1, it actually shows the node ID. This node ID is a key name for the OPC UA tags. So that's why I like to use this unified automation UaExpert software, because it can show the actual tag name and this node ID. Some OPC client software, they can only browse the OPC UA tags using the node ID rather than the name. So using this software is easy to browse this OPC UA tags. So that is everything. If we recall the key settings around here, this connectivity and especially this UA server, as well as at the top, this area, these are the key settings for the OPC UA server setting. From this column, we set up the OPC UA address, and this column, we select the actual security settings. And once we hit this connect, keep in mind it will pop up the anonymous settings. And eventually we need to hit this active OPC UA server config. And sometimes if it doesn't work, you can try to restart the OPC UA, and then keep in mind the PLC must be also running. Alright, that's for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up. If you like to watch more videos in my channel, please subscribe. See you in next video.